Okay, we're on to the second album for Alice Cooper. This came out in 1970 and was still on the straight record labels from Frank Zappa, but that will be the last of it because the following year for Love It to Death and onwards will be for Bob Ezrin. Still on Warner Brothers though. This album, for me, it's a lot more polished sounding, more a lot more thought up, more developed, more driven than Pretty's for You. I feel like Pretty's for You, obviously it's a first album, but I think some of the stuff felt a little rushed. This one feels more complex in a way, but that's no disregard to Pretty's for You and what was going on with that album. And before I get started, if you're new to this series, I put links in the description for the album if you want to listen to it, and also my playlist for it's called Alice Cooper album reviews. You can search through that or simply just go on the channel and through the playlist you'll find it there. And moving on from that, what I want to say about this album is I think it sounds better on a physical copy than YouTube. I don't know. When I was listening to YouTube, it felt a lot, I don't want to say dead, but definitely not as driven as this album really is, especially when you have it, through speakers like a stereo or whatnot. And I feel the same with the later album, Special Forces. Just, I don't know if it's the remastered or whatnot, but I feel like they don't, the digital audio through YouTube or whatnot, doesn't really pick up what this album's supposed to sound like. But that's just me. So again, with the album itself, let me show you. Sorry, Easy Action. It's very much penciled in, so it is a little hard to see. But of course, when you get up close, it's fine. Again, it's the same with Pretty's for You. The album cover really isn't doing much for me because in 1970, your selling point isn't Alice Cooper. Nobody knows what that is yet. Easy Action, well, we can't even fucking read it. And then the picture itself, it's okay. Again, if you saw this at a record store during the day, is it really asking to buy? I don't think so. And then on the back side, kind of the same from Pretty's for You. It got, late 60s funky clothes, and I'm sorry for the lighting. I'm going to buy a light, so it does keep flickering. But one thing I want to say about the Alice Cooper logo here, it kind of reminds me of a little bit of Nirvana for the black and gold coloring to it. And on the top, more easy action, but the O is like a sun this time. And something, for 51 years, this album looks pretty dang good. On the inside, more or less the same as Praise for You, just it doesn't have the track number, the track names and whatnot inside, but it's still got the band, and the picture is very indicative of the time. And there are 9 tracks to this, 4 on side 1 and 5 on side 2. And like I said, it's a much more polished album, and I really would not say that this album sucks or it's bad. I quite enjoy this album. Sure, it's really not the Alice Cooper sound that people are used to, but hey, that's not a problem, right? So I'm going to move on now to the track songs, and the way this channel is, how rough it is in these videos, I'll just be like looking through notes and stuff and what I had to say, okay? Alright, so moving on to the first track, Mr. and Misdemeanor. This is a fun track, and I really love the way it opens up with the instruments, just the and then when Alice comes in, it's a much more raspier voice to the point that I think it's a little forced in. Obviously, in subsequent albums that will come out, he will define that voice more and more. But it is kind of interesting to see him toying with the raspy voice that he has as opposed to the more melodic sense that we got from the last album. But there is a nice callback to Pretty's for You. It's in the lyrics. I really love the pianos and the drum pairings that go along with it. And what I get out of this song is that basically any town, any city, any location, there's always those troublemaker pairs. At least that's what I get from this one. And, there's always, like I said, there's always a troublemaker in there. And one thing that I think this album improves on from Praise for You is the high pitched tones that Alice carries. I felt that for Pretties, you definitely need some work on. I made the comparison of some kid going through puberty and having his voice, very irritating sounding. But for this album, when he fluctuates from tones and rhythms of his voice, it's much more smoother sounding and it's pretty nice on the ears. I'll give them that. But this is a fun track, Mr. and Misdemeanor. I really enjoy it. All right, the next song, Shoe Salesman. We go back to this psychedelic, not in a sense psychedelic, but just Paul McCartney melodic sound to it, and it's actually a very, very nice song. It's very laid back, toe tapper, and just really makes you feel good. Again, it's more or less the same of the first song, just not with the raspy voice, just the soft. But again, the vocals, they're much more softer when he changes from the high to low pitch. And I really love how he carries out the words when he's finishing off a line. Stuff like, popsicle, would you want lemon on lime? It's got special today if you've got the time. So it's much more, melodic and, very, very pleasant to hear and whatnot. There's nothing too crazy with the instruments and guitars, but hey, that's fitting of the song. You're not going to have, Metallica drums and guitars on a otherwise melodic song to it. So yeah, right there. Yeah, better raising of pitches, and I really do enjoy the song itself. Just very laid back and very catchy. Really do love it. And then now the following song, track 3, Still No Air. I feel like it probably isn't, but I feel like this is a follow-up to Titanic Overture. It's kind of got obviously the same premise in the title, but in the beginning it's fast drums, gets distorted guitars, and of course the bass work. And I don't know, it's just the beginning of the song, of course. I kind of get a little Pink Floyd vibe to it with the way that the low vocal pitch is. But I love how it's low and then it gets hammered like we see on some songs from Pretties for You. So like one of the lines, it's, sometimes I just can't die. So just hammers in that last word on some of these lines. And it's, like I said, definitely a Pretties album. This chaotic music, everything's frightening. People start screaming towards the end. Again, maybe Titanic Overture or, Poseidon's Adventure, that type of thing, of course. And before the line finished in this song with the easy action, got a rocket in your pocket, I'm like, oh, this sounds like Gutter Jets versus the Cats, or Gutter Cats versus Jets, sorry. And then, of course, the next words are, you're a jet all the way, which is, of course, from that song from School's Out. So I thought that was pretty cool. And there, like I said earlier, at least I think so, there are a couple moments in this album that I see and definitely hear in later albums, but we'll get to that. And of course, I really do enjoy the change between the high vocal pitch and the low. Again, it's much more smoother sounding. It's not rigid or just very forced to like the point that it sounds like he's breaking his voice. Again, it's just, I think they got, the instruments and the vocal points more hammered down, obviously through time and experience. It's been a year now, so it should sound a little bit better. But yeah, Still No Air. It's a short song, but I think it does the job right. Alright, the following one, which is the end of side 1, Below Your Means. This, in the very beginning, the way Alice sings, he's got this John Morrison vibe. And of course, we're going to get that in songs like Desperado and Welcome to My Nightmare even. Just that low Morrison pitch to it. And of course, and then the background vocals kick in, which gives it this Beatles-esque sound to it. Nice vocal stretches again. Prominent guitar playing and drums. It's just a great play off between each other. I really enjoy that. There's an awesome solo, and the hard grinds of the chords I really enjoy on this one. It's an almost 7-minute song. Most of them are instrumentals, but god damn, are they just playing off of each other. It makes fantastic listening. And rhythm fluctuates low, slow, medium, fast. There is some distortion between times, at least that's what I heard. But hey, that just adds to it. And this one, along with, of course, another song from Pretty's For You, it has that false ending to it. This one's a much longer wait, but then it picks up, though it's very brief. I believe it's just a couple of vocals, or I think maybe a couple instrumentals, but I do enjoy those false endings that we kind of see in later albums too, like a Special Forces or a Dada type of thing, even Along Came a Spider. But I digress. All right, that was the end of side A. All right, side B, Return of the Spiders. This one, I really enjoyed the intro. It's got this. The volume's low. It's not like it's a low pitch or anything. It's just the volume itself of the song is low. And then it builds up, it gets higher and higher and higher with the drums and the guitars. And then Alice, he's back to his raspy voice. So he goes, "Stop, look, and listen." So just very hammering all those words, raspy voice, high energy. Just truly awesome to hear. And of course, like another line is like, "Let me in, knock knock," I said. Grinding of chords, just fast-paced guitars. This is a killer song. Again, raspy voice. It dissipates throughout the song, and then it gets to the more traditional Alice vocals. A little bit of lows in between, but yeah, I love that change between the much more forced raspiness to what his traditional voice usually sounds like. And again, throughout the song, just gets faster and faster with the instruments, and then I love the slowing down with the bang of the cymbals, just boom boom ch, boom boom ch, boom ch, boom ch. I really enjoy that, and then it picks up again, so it's a very, very fun fluctuation of the instrumental sounds to them. And all around, I wrote down, it's just a straight headbanger. It even got some screamings in the background to complement all the instruments and what's going on. It's a very fun song. In fact, this one is actually dedicated to Gene Vincent, who I believe was a rockabilly guitar player, one of the key pioneers of that genre and whatnot, so that's pretty cool to see. Alright, the track, what is it, track 6? Or track 2 of side 2, I should say. Laughing at Me. Now we're back to this psychedelic melodic feel to it. Definitely has that Turtles/Beatles-esque voice to it, that sort of psych feel. A little bit of Pink Floyd in it, but the chords, that's right, the chords in the beginning of this song, I got kind of goosebumps. I'm like, oh shit, is this a sign? Because it is very reminiscent of the song Desperado, with it goes like boom 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 boom. So like when Alice sings ugly stories. So I thought that was very cool. I'm not well known on the instruments, so I don't know if it's just the guitar or the bass, forgive me, but it was just so cool to hear those beats, just the boom 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 booms and step on, so but again, it's a nice little playthrough with guitars, and there's really nothing too crazy in terms of the instruments and whatnot, but that's again reminiscent of what this song's supposed to be about, this sort of low haunted feel. It's kind of got this like sort of schizophrenic feel to it, this personality of this character, like these things, they're laughing at me. And of course, I'm sure if he was to ask somebody, he'd be like, that's just a table or whatnot. I don't know. It's got this real haunted feeling to it, and I quite enjoy it. Especially, Alice Cooper, of course. Bread and butter's haunted vibes, right? And also, a little thing that I liked towards the end of the instruments was actually the drumstick taps. I don't think I've really ever heard that throughout a song, besides the intro, of course, when you're leading into it, like 1, 2, 3, 4. Just hearing that throughout the instruments time and time again, I actually really did enjoy. I thought it was kind of a neat touch. But yeah, that was Laughing at Me. Alright, track 3 for side B, Refrigerator Heaven. And of course, this track will make it onto Cold Ethel from Welcome to My Nightmare, the lines Refrigerator Heaven. Sorry. And the way that this song opens up, it reminds me of Last Temptation with Sideshow, because it's got these children screaming as if they're on a roller coaster, and then you got these wind sounds to them, as like just like gusting through, like an alley or whatnot. It was a very cool touch, but this song, it's very experimental, almost to the point that it sounds like clones from Flush the Fashion. It's got that fuck, I forget his name. Sorry, but it's got that just that, oh, Gary Newman, right? Gary Newman. I was gonna say Paul Newman. Shit, Gary Newman esque to it with the vocals and the way clones was and whatnot. But in any case, like I said, very experimental with the vocals, distortions. It's this cyborg sounding. Really, is all it is. And I really love the fast guitar play. There's more changes of the sounds and whatnot, and especially towards the end of the song when he's saying "won't get back till the sun sets on the moon." Just the way that the song ends with that sort of line to it and the way he sings it, I really did enjoy it. Again, I believe it's another short song, like 2 minutes and 17 seconds, but I think it does the job itself, and I think it's a fun song. All right, this one kind of confused me a little bit. The next one, "Beautiful Flyaway," because this is nothing new, of course, but with the tracks listed, "Beautiful Flyaway" is the last song, but on the actual vinyl itself, it's track 4, and then the last track is "Lay Down and Die Goodbye." Of course, it's nothing new, these things fluctuate all the time from the album cover and the record, but I just had to scribble that off. I'm like, oh, okay, it's not "Lay Down and Goodbye," but any case, for "Beautiful Flyaway," it's got a very nice piano play to it in the beginning. I really did enjoy that. More melodic, soft singing. There's a nice pickup with the background vocals, and I love the high-pitched tone that he gets throughout the song. So he starts slow, and it's like, it gets higher throughout various lyrics, but it maintains its integrity, that it's still soft and structure sounding, as opposed to like a rigid break to it that I kind of got from Pretties. Just more polished sounding, I should say. Again, very piano driven. I wouldn't doubt this was written on piano. And it's interesting, while light-hearted this song is, it kind of has a creepy vibe to it. And I looked up the lyrics. The best analogy I can have of this is somebody going through an existential crisis. That's what I kind of got from it. He's like going through Bishop's Mall, so then he's like, "You're seeing me in another womb, go to men's restrooms," and then something in the beginning of, like, "Oh, why are we here? What's the reason for us living here?" Stuff like that. So, it's a funny song. Juxtaposition, maybe, if my mind's right in terms of the song and what it's about. But again, it really does the job. I enjoy the song. There's not a song on here that I don't like, to tell you the truth. Not trying to be biased, of course not. But yeah, there is not a song on here that I do not like. All right, the last song, "Lay Down and Die Goodbye." This one is it is like a radio show. This sci-fi alien horror radio show that you're listening to. And in fact, what I wrote down when I hear this creator talking is that 1984 Big Brother commercial that Steve Jobs and Apple did. When the guy, the clone, throws the hammer at the big old teleprompter, like, "Oh, you won't enslave us, Big Brother," and look where Apple is now, right? But I just got that vibe to it, just as Big Brother talking, and he's like, "Oh, you can turn me off," and the way he's talking, it sounds like he's in a tube of water because you hear these bubbles going off and whatnot. And the beginning of the instruments for the song, again, it reminds me of Gutter Cat versus the Jets. Just that high pitch. You're a jet all the way. Just that sort of high instrumental frequency sound to it. I really did enjoy, especially with the drum playing and guitars. I love that. And again, just and it's got a lot of throughout the song. It transitions into more experimental sounds. Instruments and even special effects. I felt like it went from like a marching sound, like a marching band, stomping on the feet, to what sounded like bees, but it also could have been like voltages powering up, which might make sense for this creator that's the song's dealing with. There's wailing and moans in there, low siren sounds, and then towards the end, there's a scratching sounds, gets more wails, distorted voices. So really, it's like the instruments seem to be slowly dissipating, as if they're like dying, maybe like lay down and die, goodbye. So they sound like they're dying, but then because it just gets weaker and weaker sounding, but then it starts to pick up, and then Alice finally sings on this song. This is 7.5 minutes. He probably sings at the 7:15 mark, which isn't a problem. And then he starts singing about, at the end meeting Mama, and then something with his family and whatnot. But yeah, this song just straight out of like a radio serial. It's very cool sounding. Just with everything in it and whatnot. So yeah, Easy Action, their second album. Of course, the next album will be nowhere near like the previous two, but hey, that's okay. Alice Cooper, right? He's known for doing a broad range of spectrums of different genres and whatnot. Easy Action, along with Pretties for You, is often overlooked. I understand why, but just because they're overlooked doesn't mean they're bad albums, in my opinion. While this is more polished, I think it sounds better, in my opinion, better listen than Pretties for You. I really do enjoy the other two, both Pretties and Easy Action. So, if you stuck this far, thank you. And otherwise, I will see you guys sometime later. I try to get these out once a week. So we'll see you for Love It to Death. So thank you so much for watching, and take care.